Hello, very warm welcome to one and all. Thanks for joining us today in another episode of Wise Up. Today we're going to talk about how to transition from feelings and perceptions to data-driven decisions. Today, business outcome is driven by three key elements. So we're looking at technology, process, and people. And it's quite fair to say that each success depends on one another. So how do we optimize, improvise, and all the other buzzwords if we don't know what exactly is happening? This Wise Up is going to cover just that. So I would like to introduce Peter Anderson, our solution engineer in EMEA Education team, who will be running the Wise Up today. And we also have a special guest, Uwe Mikschert, Director of Sales and Engineering EMEA from NOAA. Uwe has been with NOAA for 4 years and will be available to support any technical questions that may arise during the session today. So without any further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Peter, who will be running the next 20 minutes, and then we'll do the Q&A at the end of the Wise Up. So request all of you to post your questions throughout the session, and then we'll get to them at the end of it. Thank you, and over to you, Peter.
Thank you, Preeti. Good afternoon, everybody. Preeti, can you hear me okay? Is the line okay?
Yep, the line's really good. Thank you.
Perfect. Good stuff. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this session from feelings and perceptions to data-driven decisions. I do encourage you to post any related questions that you may have into the chat window, as Preeti mentioned, and there will be the opportunity for Q&A at the end of the session. And we're also supported by Uwe from NOAA, as required, with respect to any technical questions that you may have. So welcome to today's Wise Up Wednesday webinar. My name is Peter Anderson. I'm a solution engineer with the EMEA Education Solutions sales team. I've been with SAP for only 1 year, but prior to that, I've been working in various SAP programs over the last 12 years in the areas of education, business analysis, and functional work in the areas of finance. And before my SAP experience, I worked as an accountant for 10 years. I like this tool set because this provides us with data. And so to be able to move from feelings and perceptions to data-driven decisions is a very, very powerful thing. Uwe, would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly. Pretty much the majority is already said about me. So I am Director for Sales and Engineering EMEA region. As such, in this position, I'm supporting SAP to provide technical support as well as any kind of questions regarding the sale of the NOAA UEM solution. I'm with NOAA since 4 years. I started actually as a technical implementation manager and project manager in implementation support before I switched over to the sales department, to the dark world, like I always used to say, or love to say, 1 year ago, and took over Germany, and now I'm responsible beyond Germany, like I said, EMEA.
Thank you very much. Okay, so as Preeti mentioned, today's session provides us with an understanding of how user adoption is key in maximizing our return on investment in SAP applications. It is not only about the application, we also need to consider the user experience. SAP solutions are strategic to your business, but do you achieve the full value from your investment? Today we consider the response to the following types of question. Are your users efficient? Are your business processes robust? How effective is your training and people strategy? What is your mean time to resolution from the support desk? How is your P&L impacted? Are you able to measure and therefore manage these areas effectively? Let's try and separate fact from fiction, from feelings and perceptions to data-driven decisions. The solution adoption challenge. Business outcomes are driven by three core components: the technology, process, and very importantly, people. System interaction and efficient use is determined by effective solution adoption. But how do we measure solution adoption? Are we able to determine a baseline in order to apply KPIs and metrics to solution adoption? Are we able to measure how well our business users interact with the system and our business process? How can we target specific training to support solution adoption in areas that may be weaker than others? If we were to gain insight into these areas, we could make reliable and informed decisions to deliver improvements in our applications. Actual user adoption across the SAP landscape is always lower than we think. Let us consider for a moment the drivers behind system implementation. There are numerous objectives and desires inherent in our IT strategies, deployment, our enhancements, modifications, and upgrades. There are significant pressures involved in arriving at a point of go-live. We have pressures on time, budget, resources, and the stakeholder expectations are significantly huge. However, the journey is only just beginning. When we go live, we also need the ability to understand, to monitor, and to optimize the real user experience on the system. The experience and resultant user adoption will determine our success. Whether we can align people, process, and technology, this is a goal that every organization aims to achieve. But how do we enable the organization to create a highly engaged workforce and to realize the monetary benefit derived from offering such an enriched user experience? I believe the answer is to focus on the organization's most strategic asset. This is human capital. So what is the reality of implementation from a people perspective? Implementation reality. So from the IT perspective, the system's up and running. No issues are visible. The system's working properly. But the business users have a completely different view. They may feel frustrated. They may have complaints. They do not adopt or use the software. They might use workarounds, etc. But when they ask for support, it takes a long time to identify and resolve the issue. Fundamentally, do business and IT speak the same language? This is a question to consider. Did you know that 60% of upgrades and rollouts cause business disruption, 30% of performance problems are caused by user behavior, and 50 to 60% of application functionality is not actually used after the go-live? 90% of user support time is about finding out the missing information, i.e., what did the user do before the issue occurred? So, are these typical adoption challenges and comments familiar to you? Excuse the lag on the screen. Okay, so are these typical user adoption challenges? Are these familiar to you? Do you have sufficient resources and informed insight that enable you to silence the noise? How can we respond to these user adoption challenges to deliver improvements and efficiencies across our SAP estates? Based on research published by the Aberdeen Group, companies that monitor end-user experience proactively identify 82% of problems versus 32% for the average that do not. They achieve 99% application availability versus 84% for those that do not. They realize a 30% drop in end-user complaints versus a 4% in companies that do not, a 4% increase in companies that do not. And also, these companies are 75% more likely to improve employee productivity and enjoy the associated benefits resulting from this. Based on customer feedback that we've received, there is a need and requirement for transparency to understand how to target efficient, effective training. We have a need to be able to provide proactive support and issue resolution from our support teams across the estate as opposed to being reactive in nature. There is a need to understand if our user community is taking full advantage of the application and if they are correctly following the intended business process. So, from feelings and perceptions to data-driven decisions. I'm not sure if you can read the little cartoon on the screen, but from feelings and perceptions. I taught Stripe how to whistle. Okay, but I don't hear him whistling. I said I'd taught him, but I didn't say he had learned it. Feelings and perceptions to data-driven decisions. Introducing SAP User Experience Management by Noah. With the SAP User Experience Management application, we are able to monitor how your users and the SAP software behave during their day-to-day activities. We continuously follow what the user does and how the system responds. We measure the performance of all end users all of the time and for every SAP transaction. SAP UEM, User Experience Management, tracks response time as experienced by the end user. This includes transaction response and navigation response, and this is the user response time experienced from their own workstation. This is a true measure of how the user interacts with the application. We also track the quality of the user experience, including infrastructure errors, server, network, databases, and application errors, such as ABAP errors, method not allowed, for example. We can also track adoption and usage information, including user behavior issues, such as utilization, user error, active and idle time, and workflow issues, such as process proficiency and compliance. We collect all of the mentioned data and we make this visible for you via Business Objects dashboards. We can drill down, we can filter on specific user groups, systems, transactions, periods. We can also put a comparative trend line in so that we have actual data versus a baseline of comparative reporting. These reporting features enable us to analyze user and system behavior from different angles. Thanks to this analysis, we are able to identify weak spots within the software or users to set priorities. When you're using SAP Solution Manager, together with SAP User Experience Management, you will receive a complete overview of what is happening within your organization from IT and the user perspective. And this will help you to set up actions to improve the weak spots via knowledge transfer, customization, targeted training, changes, etc. This is an ongoing process because the IT and user landscape will keep moving due to innovation, change, turnover, acquisition, upgrade, and the list goes on. We can kind of compare this to a consultation with a doctor or a dentist. So we would go in, we would mention the problem, we would receive a diagnosis, and finally, hopefully, some indication of how we can improve. How do you know if your SAP software is used in the way that you designed it? How do you know if your users receive the value from your SAP investments? What needs to be done on the software and on the user side to achieve this value? Where should we start? How should we set our priorities? Data-driven decisions enable confident decision-making, enabling the organization to save money and to enjoy the associated opportunity benefits from this decision. Ultimately, we intend to reduce risk and benefit from the productivity savings that in turn drive an increasing return in our investment. Excuse me. Giving IT and business a common objective view of the true user experience has been elusive until now. No more guessing with SAP User Experience Management by Noah. Go live is just the start of the journey. Our priority has to be to answer the 5 W's. Who is using the system? What are they doing? Where are the problems? Why are they happening? And when exactly did these occur? A swift, informed and focused response will drive up our user adoption. The 5 W's, the who, the what, the where, the why, the when. So what is SAP User Experience Management by Noah? This captures 100% of the data on application activity from the user desktop view. This uses SAP UEM Peterson technology. It captures real user workflow and user errors. It's automated and complete. It doesn't require any scripting. It's applicable to custom transactions and custom screens, and it's supported by powerful analytics and reporting capabilities. If we do not understand the problem, how can we fix it? We capture the experience, we analyze the experience, we action, we optimize the experience. SAP UEM allows us to diagnose related issues at any stage of improve, plan, evaluate, or implement. Data-driven decisions consider the frequency, the complexity, and the value at risk. We are in a position to move away from how do we do this to do we do this? Or we can move from what data do we use today to what data do we want to use today? Benefits of deployment. So SAP User Experience Management allows us to understand where the problem-solving opportunities lie within the organization. There are multiple use cases supported by the application, from new implementations and transformations to steady-state environments. The core pillars apply to our business processes and to increase efficiencies. The core pillars apply to our business process to increase efficiency, to our change management to increase use satisfaction, to our functional support teams to eliminate issues in the most efficient manner, and to our training and education teams enabling us to develop specific and targeted training to support users. UEM enables us to understand our system interactions, our efficiencies and our effectiveness. All of these components support and represent our solution adoption. We can identify the data, we can drive change and measure improvements and efficiencies, both before and after the change is implemented. We also have user-definable thresholds, so we can report on the underlying value of change and contribute to efficiency programs, such as Six Sigma or other productivity initiatives. SAP UEM is a complete application lifecycle management tool, and this can be used from implementation to a steady state of sustainment or business as usual. UEM seeks to reduce the overall project time and effort, assure project success by improving process adoption and compliance, enable more effective UAT, user acceptance testing, shorten the hypercare period, and enable a quicker path to end-user sustainment and issue resolution. Challenges of SAP projects. Based on customer feedback and experience, there are some common challenges. And I'm sure these are not specific to SAP, but to systems implementation as a whole. So, for example, core challenges, adoption. It is estimated that 25% of productivity is lost as a result of low system adoption. Training and education. 62% of issues are related to users' compliance. And up to 50% of functionality is not used post-go live. That's a staggering statistic. Those companies that invest in change management also report 20% higher results in their user acceptance. These are not small or insignificant numbers. With SAP User Experience Management, we can address these challenges from the outset. The following slide provides an example of a user dashboard report. So I've put some screenshots in just to give you a flavor and an understanding of the UEM tool. Obviously, we'd be very, very interested to showcase and provide a demonstration of the tool set to you in further detail. So just a few screenshots to illustrate its capabilities. The UEM dashboard reports allow us to see the following types of information: application activities and issues, KPIs and their related business processes, error profiles, response times, and user issues. With this specific user dashboard, we can identify application functions or issue types with the highest business impact for your production systems. We can identify the user groups and individual users that experience the most severe impact of errors in order to pursue remedial action. We can assess the effectiveness of any remediation programs by comparing the error rates for a specific error condition or application module, and we can do this across time with a comparative benchmark figure. We also have role-based predefined dashboards based on our stakeholders or groups. There's a large number of reports, so it's not necessary to create these for ourselves, so a large number of reports straight out of the box. However, User Experience Management works with business objects and the BI suite, so it is possible to customize and develop your own reporting. So with the metric summary dashboard, this is trending year over year. So we can understand what transactions are problematic, where the problem is impacting, who is delayed as a result.
Peter, you're dropping off.
So, sorry?
No, you're back. Okay.
Oh, did I disappear?
Yep.
Oh, hopefully I'm back. Sorry. Okay, it's also possible to measure the impact of change for our business process KPIs across the user group and SAP applications. During initial configuration, the business must provide the minimum and maximum threshold values in percentage and the corresponding rates in value. This allows the predefined calculation formulas to work in the background. The business processes can be defined either directly in NOA or they can be imported from SAP Solution Manager. We can also drill down to understand exactly where the process is not performing as expected or as desired. Interestingly, if benefit could be expressed financially as value less cost, we are now able to have a complete understanding of these component parts to support any consideration of investment in the UEM application. So remembering the 5 whys, the what, the where, the why, and the where. Okay, the next slide shows an example of isolating performance issues and prioritizing needs. So we can drill down into any current data compared to a baseline to ascertain trends, issues, or departures from the related process. Okay, this slide represents a process improvement opportunity. So we have on the dashboard, so if I start in the bottom left-hand corner, we have a number of transactions with their frequency in terms of time and error rates. So the specific example is in relation to errors. We can see that I can't see on my screen because it's too small. One moment. We can see that transaction F-03, which is a GL clearing account, has 137 errors. So this is a heat map, and the size and color is dependent on the frequency, the volume, and the volume of the errors. So we can drill down on the what, i.e. the 137 errors in F-03. We are able to ascertain who this is directly impacting, and also, so there's two specific people here, maybe they need some targeted training. Okay, and we can also understand exactly where this is happening in the process, which on this occasion is GL account clearing. The number of errors that are associated with GL account clearing, which is the Y, is 543. And then we are able to drill down further to understand and evaluate what is going on with this business process. Okay, the next example is a deep dive, is actual data, and this is a user workflow report. So this is very, very specific and helpful for the support desk. So what we're able to see from here is the actual system response times that this user has experienced, and we're able to understand the when, the why, and the how. I'm sorry for the lag time on these animations. Okay, so when, we have a specific system time of 3:38 p.m. So this is the when. So this is the user workflow. This is every click, every transaction, every step that the user takes to navigate through this specific activity. So we can understand the when. At the point of why, no posting can occur. We have a user error. And we also understand how they try to add a GL account item. So on the basis that many support desk resolutions require a lot of iterative information, we can very quickly and very easily understand the exact steps that the user has taken without them having to explain this to us. So we can see this immediately from the UEM application. Okay, so with the dashboards, we can gain visibility into the application adoption and process execution. We can see the transactions that are frequently used. We can understand if our investment in custom codes such as Z transaction is beneficial. In this case, the investment is a good investment. But we'd also be able to see where we have custom development codes that we may be paying maintenance for, or support costs, or enhancement costs, that aren't actually being used by the users at all whatsoever. Okay, I'm sorry about the animations. They didn't work quite as well as I'd hoped on the BrightTalk channel. However, I hope that's given a flavour and an insight as to the capabilities of UEM and the respective reporting. So through incremental change, we can drive innovation. We can deliver efficiencies and productivity savings that are both measurable both before and after a given change event. And hopefully the adage of what you measure gets managed is highly appropriate as we address the solution adoption needs of our organizations and contribute to world-class competencies. With the value of user insight, we have improved process efficiency, we have reduced help desk support cost, improved knowledge and training return on investment, improved user and system adoption, and fundamentally increased value from our SAP investment. Uwe, would you like to talk through the roadmap?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So as you can see very briefly, as it already states, roadmap, what is currently available, what kind of UEM solutions do we offer, and this is about SAP applications. So besides the standard one, what I consider standard one, CRM, portal, GUI, we are also currently working on Fiori because SAP is leading the customers over to Fiori, so we want to make sure we are staying ahead of the game and develop in parallel with SAP this initiative. So there is already a beta release out there for Fiori as well as SuccessFactors. What's going to happen until we finish 2016? We certainly will plan to have a NOA toolkit for UI5 applications available, and in addition to monitoring those UI5 apps out from the get-go out of the box. We already have to some degree support on monitoring Chrome, and for the last quarter of 2016 we will offer monitoring of the mobile devices, iPad, etc. Cloud Edition is, as it states here, already available since first quarter, so this is not an option for customers who are not want to pay maintenance fees, hardware costs, etc. So Cloud Edition is a subscription model. Next slide, please. Here just a brief look at all the customers we're actually working at. This is going across the globe. Even if our headquarters is in North America, and to be precise, New York, we have customers around the globe. This also means in different industries. In other words, UEM is not just for a particular part of the industry or majority. Everybody has the benefits when using UEM, and a lot of those are actually our reference customers. Customer stories, this is just to give you a quick idea about it. As I already mentioned, customers are using it for different purposes. So John's Manville, for them it was about to reduce the help desk, primarily help desk requests coming in. So they have achieved a reduction of 75% by using UEM, and it also helps them to, because of the reduction in tickets, this allows them to control what is the adoption of the SAP application for the end user. So, next slide, please. Givaudan, that's also one of our reference customers here in Europe. For them, it was about to improve the custom trials actions. What's not going to be utilized for what they have to pay maintenance cost, as already pointed out, which is a significant cost if you talk about those custom transactions. And as such, they were able to reduce those over 50% and see the value, what kind of C codes custom transactions should be remain in the system because they're still used by the end users, and which one for also to improve as such.
Thank you very much for that, Uwe. Okay, so I understand that the slide pack will be circulated to all attendees. So just to mention the positioning of user experience management under adoption. So SAP Education have a comprehensive portfolio of both services and product to support your organizational needs. Okay, so some final thoughts. I think the time has gone rather quickly. Thank you, Preeti. I'll just wrap up. So I hope today has given some insight into how feelings and perceptions can be changed to data-driven decisions, and I would encourage you to explore the capabilities and offerings of SAP User Experience Management further. So please do not hesitate to get in touch with SAP Education. Thank you, Preeti.
Thanks, Peter. I'm just really conscious of time, so just want to take at least one or two questions for the day. So the first one that I have is it constantly monitoring all activities on the user's desktop? So this being a technical question, should I pass it to Uwe?
No, it's okay. Well, we only monitor SAP applications, and this is driven by a NOA license, so that the solution can track only the required activities. So no, it's not constantly monitoring all of my activities on the desktop. It sounds very much Big Brother, but we like to think of it as the Big Brother that's going to help you down from if you're stuck in a tree, as opposed to anything else.
Okay. And the next question that we have is, does SAP help with understanding all of this data, or do we get some help with getting insights on how to interpret the information or how to, improve?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yes, we do. And we work together with partners to offer value realization services to derive benefit and understanding of the NOA information and data.
Okay. How much does it cost?
So there are two versions. We have on-premise and we have cloud. So to give an idea, with the on-premise, we have a ad infinitum price per user. So if we were looking at our Euro price list, it's 250 euros per user. And we also have a cloud pricing structure as well. So the cloud pricing structure is based on volume, so in terms of user volume, and also the term in years. So the minimum subscription term for cloud offering is 12 months. And then we have tiered pricing based on user volumes, with also a flat fee, an annual flat fee for each year of use.
Okay. I think we've just gone past time as well. So we'll definitely answer some of the questions that we have from the audience, and we'll email the answers back. And if you have any further information, you can reach out to Peter Anderson as well. We will share the slide deck at the end of the session. You will have the contact information in that. All right. Thank you very much for joining us today. And
thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Ulrich.
Bye-bye.
Bye.